Well, thank you for staying with us this holiday morning, and it's time now for the news review. Today is a barren day by way of the newspapers. They are not here with us, but we'll definitely do the online portals. Joining us for a discussion, development expert at CK Tadam University of Technology and Applied Sciences, Dr. Sumaila Asa, is our guest. Dr. Asa, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to have you, and I think it's only fitting, since this is the first time we're interacting. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to all your listeners and all your crew and team.
Let's start off the conversation from how you would assess the year 2022. And maybe after that, I would ask about the second tenure, the second term of President Akufo-Addo. In his third year, next year is an electoral year. What your assessment so far would be? But let's start from 2022. How do you think 2022 went for Ghana?
Yeah, 2022 started very well in terms of, economic outlook. And unfortunately, went so bad at the ending, or let's say the second quarter of 2022 was so bad. It was quite scary. Some of us thought that this would have been the time for, some of the unfortunate expectations that people have been talking about for Africa. Yes, we saw that in some few African and West African countries in terms of uprising, but Ghana were able to hold to it. And I think we have to thank God for that. It was not quite easy, and it's still not easy up to date. We still have the semblance of 2022 in 2023. We are praying and hoping that at least 2023 will give us a better and a breathing space. And that's my prayer. But 2022, I think Ghanaians had to do, and in fact, we have to congratulate ourselves. We did quite very well in terms of individual, household, and to an extent, a country, but not necessarily political.
Okay. Let's look at the year 2023 then. I mean, the year has just started. But when you look at the second term of President Akufo-Addo, what would you say have been the highs and lows so far since 2020?
That's a big question. A lot of lows in terms of the hopes and the aspirations that Ghanaians had for Akufo-Addo in 2016. I must say that, yes, Akufo-Addo came with the energy. And that is what actually people were able to compare with NDC or John Mahama, and then they gave him the nod. Unfortunately, I must say so, because I don't wish that Ghana goes back at any point in time. But to a large extent, we've seen some drawbacks in terms of major areas of the economic growth. Inflation is. Now we find it difficult to even know what is actual inflation, and that's a very major economic outlook that every country would like to see positive. Now, when it comes to areas of, let's say, jobs, and in particular, we still have a high number of increasing unemployment rate in the country. These were points and issues that Akufo-Addo raised, especially when coming to power in 2016. I don't know what will be the challenge, but I can speculate that it is the over-politicization of government programs that has led us to where we are. And then Akufo-Addo probably has not been able to hold that strongly to himself. We thought Akufo-Addo was a man of himself, as he used to say during 2016 elections. But I feel today that Akufo-Addo is not being able to demonstrate that so much in terms of ability to hold to his men.
Is that to say then, just to hold you to what you just said, you say you thought Akufo-Addo was a man of himself. Is that to say you think now that he is not a man of himself? In fact, that he is not able to be the tough guy we all expected he would be?
Exactly. Because, we had concerns about some of the corruption issues that were happening in NDC, or suspected corruption issues that were happening in NDC. And many Ghanaians had those issues and thought John Mahama was not of himself, and therefore he needed to be changed for somebody like Akufo-Addo, who was no nonsense man. Unfortunately, that is rather the opposite. And it has really not near to the benefit of this nation. The perception about corruption alone has made Ghanaians to lose hope. Now, you go to public sector, and many public service officers who hitherto didn't think like amassing wealth. Now everybody think, the man has opened the floodgates. Let me also use the opportunity to get what I want. And that is the challenge that we're having as a country now, and that is the challenge Akufo-Addo is having. Look at what is happening about the finance minister. Everybody, including the development partners, everybody is saying the man needs to be changed, and the man is still there. Just to demonstrate that at least you can control your cabinet, or you can put people aside and then replace people. That would have been enough confidence for Ghanaians to believe that the man is of himself. But unfortunately, we are not seeing that. You see, the biggest challenge.
And now, of course, we see for Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, we see another portfolio added to him for now, the Trades and Industry Ministry in addition. And that has brought to question the bit about deputy ministers and what they should be doing. I think when the gender minister, Sarah Adwoa-Safo, had her issues, the deputy was made to step in at a point. But then I also saw, in fact, no, it was Cecilia Abnadapa, the Minister for Water Resources, who was made to step in. And some have questioned that situation, why deputy ministers ordinarily wouldn't be stepping in such a situation.
And that's the question, because we say deputy ministers are supposed to support the minister and then in his absence. Now the minister is not there. Why can't we let the deputy minister act? Not appoint him as substantive minister, but he could act. For the short period that you want to prepare yourself and get another substantive minister appointed. But we get another minister to be responsible. Then the question is, what are the deputy ministers, what are they doing? You see, we have to understand that we have an agenda to develop our people. And for that matter, when you are given the nod, you will have to do that and let the people have confidence in you. If it becomes so personal that I have won my power and therefore I have it, then it is equated to what we normally have in the military government, that I've used my blood and I've won, I've succeeded my coup, therefore I'll do what I want to do. But this is not the military government. This is a government that people have queued and voted for you, have confidence in you and vote for you. Please respect their views and their opinions as well, so that at any point in time they still have confidence in you. But now I can say that many Ghanaians have lost confidence in Akufo-Addo, and fortunately for Akufo-Addo, he's not going to contest again. But I guess the political party that he represents may be the one that will be giving will be paying the price for it.
Now, just to top up, there have been lots of reactions on social media on this matter. Some people sharing their thoughts on it. But what picture does it paint? Because we've had those 80 members of parliament, 90 plus members of parliament, and all the bits about a motion of censure against the finance minister. What picture does this paint in terms of the president's readiness to stick to the promise he made and let go of Ken Ofori-Atta after, an IMF deal is secured? Because now, if he's giving him additional responsibilities, some project that would mean, look, he's digging his heels in as far as the finance minister is concerned. Is that your thinking as well?
To be frank with you, all those, when they vote of censure and then they...
Well, we seem to be losing our guest. We'll try to... Dr. Asa? Okay. Dr. Asa, we lost you briefly. So just go back about some 30 seconds and make your point as you started your reaction to my question. All right, we seem to be having issues there. But, okay, I see Dr. Asa now. Doc, go ahead. Just start with your response to the question I put to you.
Yeah, so to me, when the agitations and all that started, I thought, for some time.
Well, the connection not exactly favoring us this morning. We'll try to work it out and get Dr. Asa back on the line. Doc, let's try this one last time. If not, maybe we may have to use the phone lines because of the connectivity issues. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
So I'm saying that. Yeah. So I'm saying that Akufo-Addo and Ken Akufo-Addo, the relationship between them is beyond politics, and that's the unfortunate aspect of it. Because the political party that brings you to power, then Ghanaian people who owns Ghana, and therefore you have chosen you as the president. Akufo-Addo has placed Ken Akufo-Addo over all those, things. So I don't see Akufo-Addo removing Ken Akufo-Addo anytime soon. It's unfortunate, but that's what he has made his mind to do.
So you think, contrary to the promise that has been made to those MPs, as we've been told, he's not going to live up to his promise? Is that what you're suggesting? We seem to be... Okay, go ahead. You would have to unmute now because I think we don't have your sound. All right.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So I am saying that I don't see Akufo-Addo relieving Ken Akufo-Addo now because of the relationship that we have. From beginning, I said it and I keep on saying it, that Akufo-Addo will not relieve Ken Akufo-Addo. The relationship is beyond politics. The relationship is beyond partisanship. But that's the unfortunate aspect of it, that you have personalized the presidency to an extent that your cousin, who we all know and think that it's not doing well, you keep on allowing him to mess the country up to this stage. It's unfortunate, but to me, I don't see him relieving anytime soon.
Let's do this right before we take some stories from the online portals, both locally and internationally. I don't know what your memories are of the current president, and we talk about him, of course, because he is president now. But I read an interesting article in recent times by one Yawan Sako, who's been working for about 3 decades in the managerial space with Unilever and beyond. He says he doesn't belong to any political party. He has worked with Akufo-Addo, in fact, in the early 90s with the Alliance for Change. But he has this to say in a recent article. Had Akufo-Addo never become president, there would have been no doubt in minds like mine that he would have made a great president. But he became president, and now we're utterly baffled at what we see. Ghana is broken, and that is worrying enough. We have become a veritable Robinson Crusoe society with tons of miracles that lead nowhere. Do you agree with this person, Yawan Sako? And if not, what is your take on the Fourth Republic? We're just celebrating what, some 29, 30 years of our Constitution and all of that. What do you make of what he says? Do you agree with him?
I agree in total with him. You see, as I said from the beginning, that prior to 2016, 2008, even dating back to the Preco days, everybody knows that Akufo-Addo is a no-nonsense man. Akufo-Addo is the man who will come and tolerate no-nonsense. Akufo-Addo is the man with the revolutionary spirit, even though we are not going into military revolutionaries. But I said that, look, with this all hopes, what went wrong? And Akufo-Addo, to me, if he is really listening, should just go back to those ideals and then end his presidency with the dignity that he started with. Otherwise, it's going to be a disaster for himself and a disaster for any relation to him in the future. Because, one, we know Kwame Nkrumah with certain values that Kwame Nkrumah came with. We have read them. I was not not born during the rule of Kwame Nkrumah, but we have read about it. Now, we take the next person, Acheampong, and you can see the development paradigm of Acheampong, and then there are certain principles that everybody know Acheampong came and then lived with. Operation Feed Yourself. Now, we came to Jerry Rawlings, and then we all know Jerry Rawlings came with the theory of poverty accountability, and hard work. Now, Akufo-Addo came in with a particular spirit of no nonsense. Oh, I come in with the rule of law. These were the ideals of Akufo-Addo, the rule of law, and this is an outstanding human rights lawyer. And to be frank with you, some of us felt that this is the time for us to allow the system to now work, because the rule of law is the principles, the values that a society is supposed to rule and then supposed to live by. And that's my bigger disappointment. As we speak today, the problems of Ghana is not because we don't have resources, we don't have money, but there's high level of indiscipline in political appointment, high level of indiscipline in public service, high level of indiscipline in civil service, and the private sector as well, indiscipline, because the laws are not working. And some of us, we're happy that somebody like Akufo-Addo, with that bad track record of human rights defense, rule of law, would have come to streamline things so that everything in Ghana would have been based off law. If you break the law, the law will hold you on, because the president believes in that. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm seeing that much. There's no difference between what he professed and what is happening. And
connectivity issues again. We'll have to manage the situation. But this also, the last time I made mention of this, it also says a lot about our internet connectivity and reliability in this country. But anyway, let's also try to get Dr. Asah back. Sometimes we also know that it could be calls that could be truncating the internet connectivity. So who knows? Dr. Asah, can you hear me now? Hello, Doc.
Yeah, we can go on now.
Okay, so you were making a final point there. Just to wrap up, and let's get into the issue of Ghana Airlines and that latest development that has got a lot of people talking as well. So just your wrap-up comments, if you're not done yet.
Yeah, so my point is this, that all these were the principles that would have led this country to another level of development, because, as I said, the problems of Ghana are not that we don't have the resources. We have the gold, we have the diamond, we have the oil, we have the cocoa, but everybody keep on asking the question, why are we not moving forward? And I would say that it's because we don't respect rules and values. We do not have that strong commitment to the rules and the laws that we make in this country. And I hope that Akufo-Addo, with that background, would have been the one who would have come to streamline that. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. And I think we have to move forward in that direction. I will just give you an example. If you cross to any of our neighboring, especially if you cross Burkina Faso, and you see what is going on. I just returned from Burkina Faso about 2 weeks ago or 3 days ago. Then you begin to see, why are they constantly going into this issue of coup and then replacement of their leaders? It's just because they come and they are not really living by the standard that the people of Burkina Faso want. And they always talk about their Thomas Sankara, who came and laid down principles that the country is supposed to follow. Unfortunately, went on. So now he's like their God. You go there and everybody talks about Sankara. If you stage a coup today and then you come to Burkina Faso and you are not doing what the people expect, and their bigger expectation is about the rules the rules must be followed, principles must be followed, the laws must be followed. You go to Burkina Faso and you have different lanes of different road lanes for motorbikes. People are respecting the laws. So if you come as a president and you are not respecting, or people are beginning to not to respect rules, then they think that you are not doing well. And these are the things that I thought Akufo-Addo would have come, and we know that Ghanaians would have lived to that level of expectation, and they would have lived to conclude Akufo-Addo government with something special, that he came and was able to streamline the rules, and then corruption, issues of justice. But we can see that as the man who we had all the hope for. And it's unfortunate, but that's what I can say.
Let's look at this story on myjoyonline.com. Plans on course for Ghana Airlines to take off third quarter of 2023. And I'm sure you know the history of our stints with our own national carrier and how that has gone time and again. So let's get into the story. The Ashanti Airlines, a private registered Ghanaian airline, is in partnership with the government to operate a national commercial air carrier known as Ghana Airlines Limited. Zotus Group Incorporated, United Kingdom, known for its diverse portfolio of projects, is the financial and operational partners, or are the financial and operational partners of Ashanti Airlines with the government of Ghana. An official press release signed by the accountable manager of Ashanti Airlines and copied to the Ghana News Agency on Thursday said the partnership was in line with the government's policy of enabling the private sector to drive growth and transformation agenda for economic development and to boost the effective implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So it goes on, but the new airline will commence operations in the third quarter of 2023 with flights on the domestic routes, then later to regional and international routes, including flights to Heathrow Airport, that is London, JFK Airport in New York in the USA, and beyond. The Minister for Transport, Mr. Kweku Ofori-Esiama, had stated, quote, "The time has come to return Ghana to the aviation map." But some people who are industry watchers, some people who have seen us go and come as far as a national carrier is concerned, have had their own doubts about this situation. I read this tweet, for example, from my own senior friend, Joe Jackson, and he says, "Dear His Excellency Nanado, please don't put public funds into the new national commercial air carrier. Minister for Transport, quotes, the new airline will bring pride and hope to the millions of Ghanaians. Me, no, no, no." We're going the way of a national carrier once more. People say we are broke. We need fiscal discipline. Dr. Asa, are you supportive of this move?
As much as I wish that we have a national carrier.
Looks like we're losing Dr. Asa once more. I'm beginning to wonder now whether maybe some people aren't intentionally calling him to mess up the connection because it's becoming one time too many. Doc, if you can hear me, I think I can see you now. Please go ahead.
Yes. So I'm saying that I am one who will be very happy to see a national carrier again because I've missed that. In 2004, at Cathedral International Airport, when I was doing my national service, I saw the last bit of Ghana Airways and how Ghana Airways died. And the principles that we have to follow to get another airline, we have to agree that it is expensive to get to that level of operating a national airline. Even though sometimes when I get to Terminal 2, I feel bad that we are wasting it. But all the same, we cannot jump to a bigger airline because of the cost and the operational difficulties. Yes, I'm happy that it's a Ghanaian initiative, but as a state and Ghana, we have to be cautious and how much money we put in there because we need money for more pressing things for now. But if it's a private person, we can do the PPP arrangement, and as a country, we have a lot of space. I mean, the airspace, we can use our sovereign airspace opportunity to support an initiative that is more Ghanaian, and we have a terminal that is, underutilization. We can probably make use of that, but I don't know the extent to which the state want to invest in terms of cash and then resources, but we have a lot of other resources. The air catering services, we have other facilities that some have been sold, but we still have few facilities that we can make use of. So we shouldn't throw it out as something that we cannot do, but I don't think it is the time is now for the state to spend so much money in terms of cash in it. I don't support that in 2023.
Let's look at some other stories now. And also there, one opinion piece, Ezra's Sonnet, revisiting the Cathedral controversy. I'd just like to find out from you on the bit about the National Cathedral. The plan is to complete it by the end of 2024. What do you make of that development, especially as Parliament did not side with the approval of 80 million for that project, 80 million Ghana cedis? What do you make of the project? In light of our economic difficulties, should we put it on hold for now, do you think?
That is perfect. I can't say anything than to just support what you have just said. We know our priorities. We know we are so God-loving people. Christians, Muslims, we all know how much God has done for us as a country. From the days of revolution to 30 years of having a constitutional governance. It's a big blessing that we should thank God for. But you cannot thank God. You can't go to church and then everybody is putting collection out, let's say 100 cities, and then you have 50 cities in your pocket, and then you decide to go and put the whole 50 cities in there. How will you feed your family after church? Those are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. So there's no question about the importance of the cathedral. Even though, yes, technically people have questioned whether it's a cathedral or whatever, who is going to be the bishop there, the Catholic, we the Catholics will ask those questions. But those are the semantics. Yes, we can, as a country, say, God has been so good to us, and we want something monumental for God, therefore a church. But I don't think God will be so happy himself that you have used your last money to do collection in church. So those are the principles that we have to follow, that as a good father, you don't overdo things at the detriment of your citizens or your children at home. So, Akufo-Addo, I think, yes, we know you made a promise. You are God-loving. We are all God-loving people in Ghana, but our situation doesn't deserve that big, monumental gift to God. God has it all. He doesn't need our monumental fiscal gifts. We can pray to him constantly as we do every year, and we have more churches, we have more mosques, and then we can continue to do that and keep on praying that our situation will get better. This when the situation gets better, for instance, if you are lucky to get more money from our resources that we have been wasting, our gold, that we don't know how much gold has been taken away from Ghana, both from the legal sources and the illegal sources, all. How much oil we have been exporting, how much we are getting from that, and what can we squeeze gradually. We shouldn't behave as a generation like we are the end of Ghana, or we are the generation that will take Ghana to the end. We are just a step in the whole agenda of Ghana, which is an everlasting state and a country. We have over 100 years. Let me tell you, I saw how countries plan for 200 years. And I tell you, in Germany, they're thinking about planning energy for 200 years, thinking about how they are not going to waste their lignite. Lignite is a resource that will now, about the next 500 to 1,000 years, will tend to become coal, which is the easier energy source we can have in the world. And they want to be one of the biggest deposits of coal. And they have the lignite now. They have decided that they will not waste the lignite, but will take a step to rely on Russia and other countries so that we can have our energy and leave our lignite, which we don't want to waste. These are generational thinking. We need to begin to think that way. Okay, we need a cathedral. It should be a national agenda. And that is why I have a problem with our country, because we do not have a national plan. If we have a plan, and then we have agreed as Ghanaians that this is what we want to achieve, and we at a particular point in time when our situation is at this level, when our macroeconomic indicators are showing this level of positive consistently for some time, we want to put a little savings to honor God for the good things he has done for us. And it should not be Akufo-Addo, it should not be John Mahama, it should be Ghana. If it is 50 years we're going to use to do that, it depends on what we have.
And that feeds into the logic of, as we've always said, those countries, France, USA, and how long, for some of them, 2 centuries, putting up, their cathedrals. But here's another interesting point as we get ready to wrap and take that final story. Just linked to that, there is a story on GhanaBusinessNews.com about Egypt spending 400 million euros on a CNC factory, and I'll break it down. I'll give you details of that. While we are spending $400 million, almost the same equivalent, on a national cathedral. So let's look at the details. Of course, Ghana and Egypt go way back. We have strong ties, and even during the time of Kwame Nkrumah and Gamal Abdel Nasser, we had some pretty strong ties. Nkrumah ended up marrying an Egyptian. But when you look at the details that were given, so in May 2021, Egypt went ahead to secure an signed a deal with a German company. In 2022, Egypt received International Monetary Fund board approval for a $3 billion facility for 46 months. We are going for same, interestingly. But look at what the Egyptians are doing. Available information indicates that they are putting up a computer numericals control factory in Egypt. The project is estimated to cost 400 million euros. And available information indicates that the expected factory, which will be fully automated and programmed to produce turning and milling equipment, would be located on an area of about 60,000 square meters. And the factory would provide comprehensive technical solutions, which include flexible automation, complete digital transformation, and advanced flow assembly by using automated guided vehicle transport systems. It goes on and on. It will even have an academy to train on the use of this equipment. Of course, we are talking industrialization. We are talking import substitution. We're talking developing, building our economy. The Egyptians are far ahead of us, yet they are still building. So relevance, again, building a national cathedral versus, putting up stuff that would actually boost our economy. I don't know what your take is on this.
Yes, so you've just hit the nail. The approach Egypt is using, even some of our neighbors have used that in the past. You go to Burkina Faso. In 1998, Burkina Faso had an arrangement with the World Bank for the construction of the Bagre Dam. Now, they had an agenda to reduce their importation of rice. Now, after the construction of the Bagre Dam, they have deployed a lot of their idle hands. Adam Smith, basic economist, to tell you that when you have a lot of idle hands like what we have in Ghana, a lot of people are underemployed. Not that they are unemployed, they are underemployed. You get such investment, and then you employ their energies. Burkina Faso did that, and as we speak today, Bagre produces a lot of rice. You know what they did? They know they import a lot of rice from Thailand, and the Burkinabe had maybe a taste for Thailand rice. They went into a partnership with a Taiwanese company that does the milling of the rice, polishing it the same way like what they import from Thailand. And for 20 years of the operation of Bagre Dam, they can boast of the Bagre Dam contributing to over 50% of rice in, production in Burkina Faso. If you take that amount of money, 400 million, there are similars of that. We talk about the Palgo Dam. The Palgo Dam, and not only the Palgo Dam. Look, we have talked about the Afram Plains being the food hub. Look at River Afram. River Afram flows freely. And all the Afram Plains, we do nothing with it, and it ends up at Akosombo and ends up at sea. Water from Bagre Dam flows to Sapelga, enter Ghana through Sapelga, go through Palgo, and come straight and do cause a lot of havoc. And every year we spend more time talking about Bagre Dam spillage, and the confusion that it has on our lives and properties. But what can we do as a country? Haven't we, we do from the university, we have done research, we work practically across different West African countries. We have models we want to suggest. Nobody wants to listen to you. Look, there are very even simple ones that will not cost even $100 million. If you come to Upper East, there's a project called Awad. A white man, that's a Dutchman, came and then has converted water into a reservoir, a metered reservoir. It's purely solar system, and they are cultivating over 200 acres using pivot irrigation system. That employs a number of people. I don't know the total number they are employed, but as I visit there and I go there, you see a good number of people employed. Not that we are seasonal. And they do it during the dry season and the rainy season. So it's 24-hour, 360 days work for these people, and then they're employed and they are paid their social security. We have one at Babato. The same white people have come. So in the north, that we say there's unemployment. If you invest such amount of capital, we are able to. There's a farm hub that has been created, and they are using water from the Black Volta, and they are doing serious irrigation there. Now, when we come to think, we take our small one village, one dam, and we went around to waste our money to dig dugouts. If you had converted the amount of money in each region that we have constructed, one build one dam, and do even one quarter in Upper East, and then Savannah. We have been making a lot of sense. So to me, I think Ghana is rich. We have the resources, but the unfortunate thing is that we don't know how to deploy them. And you know, as somebody defines poverty, poverty is not the absence of resources, but the absence of thinking on how to use your resources. So that's why you see somebody's father will die and leave him with a lot of resources, and he will end up becoming a poor man. And that is how Ghana is. Ghana is becoming a clear epitome of somebody who has inherited so much from his father and ended up becoming pauper and living on verandas and gutters.
Right.
And that is what we're going. Because at independence, we know how much gold we had. At independence, we know how much foreign reserve we had. At independence, we know the agenda that was carved for, even taking advantage from the colonial masters with the Marshall plans and then Nkrumah's 7-year plan as well. Then we, at a point in time, just feel like we have so much, so therefore, anybody who comes to power is just coming to amass it. There is no agenda to create the resources that God has given to us. And that is the unfortunate thing. And we are beginning to become a disgraceful generation for Ghana, because God has been so good to us, giving us so much of gold, so much of oil, so much of natural resources. But at the end of the day, it's like political party organization has become a source of getting rich.
Right.
And these are the things that we have to openly talk about. If we do not change the approach of democracy, we are getting to the ditch. It will begin to feel democracy is the worst form of governance for Ghana, but we don't have an immediate replacement because coup d'etat may not be the best option. But what can we do to change the narrative? As we speak today, political parties, people who are so active in political party have an agenda to make money. So people are going into politics because we want to make money. Insignificant number of people go into politics to promote their ideals. But unfortunately, when you get in there, you might be crowded by the larger group. So we have to get an agenda. We have to let a value society prevail. That we have a responsibility to create the Ghana that in 200 years' time, our generations to come will come and say, oh, this particular generation labored and Ghana is doing well because they had taken 1, 2, 3 steps, sacrificial steps. But as we speak, nobody wants to sacrifice, to be frank with you.
And those are very important points you make. This is how we'll have to wrap the conversation, Dr. Asah. But one thing that I will take from all that you've said, poverty is not a lack of resources. It's a lack of thinking on how to use those resources. And that's something that I'll pick from everything you've said. Thank you so much, Dr. Asah, for having joined the conversation. He is principal researcher in the extraction industry and development economist at the University for Development Studies. That is Dr. Sumaila Asah, who joined us for a conversation. He's an expert at the CK Tedham University of Technology and Applied Sciences. Another story you can check out at on myjoyonline.com right before we go into sports, for those of you watching us. What do you need to secure a job in Ghana? A good certificate or connections? That's a story I found interesting by Juanita, or Juanita if you like, Amwakwa Kofi. Well, up next, we have sports coming your way, and then we get into the big stories.